Hi everyone, I'm going to show you 6 simple things you can do that will instantly transform your needle felted faces. They are: build a firm foundation, make eye divots, make sure the eyes aren't too big, add a brow, keep the face lines thin, and make the ears three-dimensional. To demonstrate what I mean, I'll create this adorable face as well as this slightly terrifying one. Sorry, bear number 2. Let's jump right in. Number 1, build a firm foundation. The most important part of a well-constructed face is what's underneath it. If your base isn't firm enough, it's going to be extremely difficult to attach delicate features to it successfully. So you want to make sure that you felt your core densely. To achieve this, I'm going to start with carded core wool, and I'm going to roll it up tightly, stab firmly, and stab long enough so that the wool really firms up. I'm going to keep going until I can squeeze it and there's not a lot of give. This might take a little while, but it's worth it to get the results that I want. Okay, here's our firmly felted base for bear number 1. Now I'm going to make a base that isn't firmly felted to show you the difference. I haven't rolled this one up tightly enough, nor have I felted it long enough to give it the density it needs. As a result, it's very squishy. Look at them side by side here. I'm squeezing them with equal pressure, but the dense one has very little give, while the loose one completely changes its shape when I squeeze it. So now that I have my nice firm base for bear number 1, I'm going to cover it in the color of wool that I want my bear to be. The firmness of my core underneath is going to help me achieve a smooth surface, which in turn will make it easier to attach the features. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time smoothing this out, using a single number 40 triangle needle, going over and over it to poke down those tiny little bumps. I always think about the surface of a needle felted object as just a bunch of little tiny hills and valleys. And when I'm working on smoothing something, it's really all just about poking down the little hills so that they're even with the valleys. Once again, this is much, much easier to do when my core underneath is firm. Okay, that looks pretty good, I think. But when I try that same process with the squishier ball, it's much more difficult. There's not enough density under the surface here to prevent the needle from going in too far and making deep holes. Therefore, I'm never really going to be able to get it to the smoothness that I want. It's always going to look a bit rough on the surface. That's why it's so important to start with a firm base. See the difference between the two? I have one more thing to do before the foundations of my bear's faces are complete. Add the snout. For bear number 1, I'm following the same principles as I did for his head, felting a ball for the snout densely, and once I've attached it to the face, spending some time smoothing it out on the surface and around the edges. But for bear number 2 here, I'm not felting it densely enough, and the result once I attach it to the face is the same as the head, too squishy and a bit rough and shapeless looking. Now that we have our 2 heads ready, it's time to add the features, and this is where a few little things are going to make a huge difference. Number 2, make eye divots. Before I add eyes to Teddy number 1's face, I'm going to carve out 2 little divots for them with my needle. All I need to do to achieve this is to repeatedly stab the same area multiple times with a bit more force than I would normally use. Making these divots does 2 things. 1, it helps me plan out where I want to place the eyes, and 2, it creates a socket for the eye, so that when I place the eye on it, it'll lie inside the socket like an actual eye would, instead of on a flat surface, which would give it the effect of bugging out a bit. I'm going to skip this step with bear number 2 so you can see the difference. Number 3, make sure your eyes aren't too big. Now I'm going to add the eyes. I'm going to make just a simple black dot for each eye for bear number 1. Eyes make an unbelievably huge difference to your face. When they're even slightly too big, they'll instantly take over the face, giving the jarring effect of a demon teddy staring blankly into your very soul, kind of like bear number 2 here. Especially when you're working with quite a small face like this one, it's so easy to use too much wool for small features like eyes. I've done it many times. I've taken what I thought was the tiniest bit of wool for an eye, and it's ended up being way too much. So if that happens to you, just pull the eye off and try again. That's the great thing about felting. It's so easy to remove mistakes and redo things. Number 4, add just a bit of a brow over each eye. To do this, just take a bit of wool, lay it over the eye and felt it down, smoothing the surrounding wool so that it blends into the face, but leaves just a bit of a bump over each eye. It's harder to see straight down from the top, but when you turn it a little bit like this, you can really see the added dimension it gives to the face. Again, I'll omit this step for bear number 2. Number 5, use very thin lines for the mouth and nose. Similar to the eyes, it's very easy to use too much wool to make the lines of the nose and the mouth on needle felted faces. You really only need a few strands to do this. It may not seem like it's going to be enough, but once you felt it onto the face, you'll see right away that it is. The best way to get a nice, thin, even strand is to twist it up and then place it directly onto the face, and then felt it down at the points where they start, end, and intersect with other lines. This is where having a firm surface will help a lot. It's much more difficult to felt very thin lines down into a soft surface. Once you're happy with the way the lines look, here's another little secret. Add a bit of wool on the snout on either side of the middle line in the same color as the teddy's face, and one just below the smile line. Make sure not to cover the lines. You want to make sure they're still showing, but what will happen is that you'll build a bit of dimension onto the snout and give the face a bit of a chin as well. See how now, instead of the lines lying flat against the face, they look like they're set back a bit. This gives the face a softer look. So I'm going to make the face lines on bear number 2 now, and see what a difference it makes when you use even a bit more wool to do this. It loses a lot of the refined look that a thinner line would give. The other problem I'm having while attaching these is that since the snout isn't felted firmly enough, every time I poke the lines, it's causing the snout to lose its shape, flatten too much in some areas, and look uneven in others. With bear number 1's firmly felted snout, that doesn't happen. Let's add the nose to both bears. Again, it's easy to add a nose to the firmly felted snout, but it's not working as well with the squishy one. The nose is becoming more and more recessed each time I poke it in, and it's messing up the proportions of the face even more. Number 6, make your ears three-dimensional. Adding a bit of dimension to the ears makes a huge difference, and it's easy to do. I'm going to start with a folded over piece of wool and felt it down on my mat, but what I'm going to do for bear number 1's ears is concentrate more in the middle of the ear. That's going to create a denser and flatter middle and a puffier edge, and give the ear more of a three-dimensional look when I attach it to his head. If I just felted it equally all around, giving the edges the same amount of attention as I do the middle, like I'm going to do with bear number 2's ear, it'll end up looking flat and two-dimensional. See what I mean? See what a huge difference those small changes make? And here's a little optional extra tip. If you're not opposed to using added color on your felts, you could even give your faces a bit of blush. This is of course dependent on the style, but I always think it gives teddy bears a little bit of extra charm. And here they are side by side. Bear number 1 looks huggable and cute, and bear number 2 looks like he might show up in my nightmares. Okay, fine. That might be exaggerating a bit. Bear number 2, you're kind of cute in your own way, but I still think I'll stick to these methods for creating faces. Many of these can be applied to other animals as well, not just bears. For example, if you're making dogs, cats, foxes, primates, or rodents, any animals that have a snout or a muzzle, they can benefit from these techniques. Here are some cute foxes whose faces have definitely been improved by deepening their eyes and enhancing their muzzles. I hope you found these tips helpful. If so, please consider liking the video and subscribing to my channel. I'm adding videos all the time geared towards all levels of needle felting, and I'd love for you to join me here. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video, and until then, take care.